Can you use art for your own healing? Yes. And in this video, I'm going to explain one way that art can be healing by helping you take pent up emotion and stress and move it out using art and sublimation. Making art in this way will help you feel more calm and peaceful afterwards. I'm Michelle Baker. I have my master's in art therapy, and I created the Art as a Soul Language method, helping creative women use art to receive messages from their soul, guiding them towards purpose and fulfillment in life. To make art that's going to be helpful in your healing process, the first thing we have to do is shift out of what we normally think art is about. So to get out of like, it's about making something pretty, it's about selling it, other people have to like it. To get out of that, the best way is to set an intention for yourself. A good intention would sound like, I want to feel better by expressing myself. So before you actually do any art making, you're going to want to sit down and meditate for a moment and get clear. What is it that I'm really asking of this art? And you especially want your mind to pay attention, because the mind is often the one that's like, oh, this is stupid or it doesn't look good. So we have to really help it see like, hey, mind, I want you to pay attention that this art is actually about helping me feel better. This art is about expression. And let's just check, when I express how I feel, does it have to look pretty? Does anybody have to like it? Do I even have to keep it when it's done? No, no, no. So that really helps us get on the right page before we even begin. Personally, what I like to do is write my intention down, usually on the back of the paper or the canvas, whatever it is that I'm working on. Next, you want to tune into how you feel. So you might do that by closing your eyes and really feeling into your body in this moment, noticing what sensations are present. Notice where you might be holding tension or stress. And what we're going to be doing is using art as a form of nonverbal communication. So you get to go straight from the feeling place to the expression place without having to find any words for it. So it's really enough to be present with your body. I would spend a couple minutes here in a meditative state where I'm really tuning in and feeling and doing a body scan so that I'm more aware of what's happening for me on the inside. Now we're going to start to transition into action. So from the overall sense of your body, you can either choose a particular sensation that you want to focus on first, or maybe there's an overall sensation. For example, maybe overall I notice that I feel stressed and tense, or maybe I notice that my heart feels one way and my stomach feels another way. If you're tracking two or more sensations, you're going to choose one to link up with action. Or if you've got an overall sense, you're going to focus on that. So let's say for my example that I'm going to focus on feeling tension and stress. Now I'm going to start to link that up with a color and a movement. So I'm like, yep, I've become aware of the tension and stress in my body. And then I just ask myself, like, what color does it remind me of? And what almost always happens when we are relating to ourselves in this way is there's a part of the mind, the judger part, that's like, that's dumb, or are you sure? And it second guesses. And so I want to advise you right now that you just go with the initial impulse and you remind your mind that you can't actually do this wrong, that there is no right or wrong. There's no quiz at the end of the day. So you're really just going to choose. And for this particular healing exercise, you can use any materials that you already have at home. You just want to make it super simple and easy. So if you've got markers, use markers. If you've got paint and you feel like painting, use paint. Make that part easy and simple. And now you're linking up your sensation with a color. You just feel intuitively drawn to gray. I'm feeling some gray. And then you also feel, going again from sensation of like stress, tension in my body, I connected to a movement. If I was going to make one movement right now on my paper, my canvas, what would it be? I get this impulse to like hold it like this, like a toddler, and maybe do some kind of scribble. It feels like I want to put some force behind it. I might even make a sound like, so when I feel ready, I just allow my body to make the movement that it feels called to make. And it can last for just one little line, or it could be that I end up doing quite a bit of scribbling. What you're doing is you're tuning in between what your body feels like and the movement that wants to be expressed. As always, you're doing your best to keep the judger mind at bay. It might say, oh, this is dumb, or you should stop, or you're being too messy. But then you remind it that you're actually doing this to feel better. And so we're going to keep going because we're just expressing and being true to how we feel on the inside. After you've made your first mark, however long or short that took, now you're going to check back in with your body and notice what you're feeling now. And you're going to repeat where you link up with how you feel with another color and another movement. It might be to use the exact same color, or it might be different. And then you say yes to the impulse to move, to scribble, to scratch, to drip, whatever it is that wants to come through. Say yes to it. Notice what it's like to give yourself permission. This is actually an act of self-compassion and self-love to say yes to the impulses that are in your body that want to move through you and be expressed. What is coming through on the paper or the canvas does not matter at all. It does not matter what it looks like. It does not matter if you like it. In fact, your mind might really not like it. None of that matters. The only thing that matters, and you try to give yourself tunnel vision here, is what you feel on the inside and the movement that wants to come through that, and the color to a small extent. If you only had gray, it would be okay. However, some of us feel like we can express better with different color. So that's why we pair up color with the movement. What you will notice is as you attune to your body and then express and attune and express, the way that you feel inside will start to shift. If you were feeling angry, you might notice that you become sad. If you are feeling stressed, you might notice that you become less stressed, but maybe there's fear underneath. It is normal as we express emotion that we find other emotions underneath that. When you notice that movement, the shifting within you, that is a good sign to keep going. Continue to repeat, checking in with your body and expressing with movement and color for as long as it feels good to you, as long as your internal experience is shifting and changing. If you started out feeling stressed and you notice that it's becoming less and less, keep going until it really doesn't feel like there's any stress left or any other emotion that wants to be expressed. Then you can pause and come back to the body itself and just notice, how do I feel right now? You can also reflect on, what was that like for me? This is another opportunity to observe how your mind might have tried to interfere or to wove a narrative about what was happening or what should be happening. But you can also take note of the different emotions or sensations that you traveled through and how different you might feel now than when you began. Then you can ask yourself, what do I want to do with my art now? There are different options. You might want to journal about the experience that you had or journal about the art itself. You might want to crumple the art up and throw it away. You might want to fold it up and put it under your bed for a while and not look at it for a couple of weeks. It's totally up to you. And there is an empowerment in knowing that you get to decide what's going to happen to it. Why does this work? Number one, this makes how you feel tangible. I can see it instead of just feeling it. When we feel things inside, it can be overwhelming. It doesn't seem like there's any edge to the experience. But when you have put it onto paper or a canvas, it has boundaries. It's only contained within this 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, for example. And that tangibleness is a relief to our mind because now I can see it and it's all encompassed within that parameter. Another reason that this is a healing experience is because of something called sublimation. Sublimation is when we have taken the energy that's inside of us and we have moved it out. We've put it in another form and it's now representing that feeling, but in a way that is metaphoric or symbolic. Sublimation means that I could show this art to somebody, not that I have to, but if I chose to, I could show it to them and they wouldn't necessarily know what it was that had occurred for me on the inside. There's a veil of hiddenness that makes it more accessible to other people. And last, another reason why this is healing is because it gives you power over it. You've taken what was inside of you that felt maybe overwhelming or scary, and you've put it outside of you where it's tangible. And then you can decide what to do with it. You can crumple it up. You can throw it away. You can hang it on your wall, but you are the chooser. And that feels much more empowering than what it can feel like to be overwhelmed in sensation inside of us. If you found this video helpful and you resonate with using art as your own healing and expressive modality, then you might also really enjoy my free guide to art as a soul language. So in case that's you, I'm going to put a link for it below this video so you can go check that out. I'd love to connect with you further.